So I know that this production began when the two of you, Zawe and Tom, did the Torcello scene at a gala for Pinter at the Pinter, which was for director Jamie Lloyd's theater company. Can you guys set the scene for me a little bit about the gala leading up to it, how much rehearsal time there may or may not have been for this scene?
But not much.
No.
It was a one-night, one-off on his birthday, what would have been his 88th birthday.
Right, 10 years after
10 years after
he died.
Mm-hmm. And Jamie Lloyd, our director, had been directing a season of Pinter, short Pinter plays, less well-known Pinter plays, at the Harold Pinter Theatre in London. Hence Pinter at the Pinter. And it was a celebration of his work, of some of his, what are considered his masterpieces, and his poems and his short plays, and Jamie Lloyd invited a whole company of actors who'd had some relationship to Pinter back for one night to do little bits. Simon Russell Beale did something from The Hot House. Kristen Scott Thomas came back and did a bit from, was it Old Times?
No, I think it was something else.
Something else. But,
right. And it was mostly people who were doing a show during that season.
Yes, there was a bit of the dumb waiter, or was about to be the dumb waiter.
It was nice because people had sort of swapped roles. You know, like Kristen had done Old Times at the Harold Pinter before, but was coming back to do something else, and then someone else did a scene from Old Times. So it was almost like an art gallery of Pinter. You know, there was sort of pieces in dialogue with each other and actors in dialogue with each other in that way, and it was.
And so Jamie asked the two of you to do Betrayal.
Yeah.
Yes. In front of a group of actors who've done Betrayal.
Which is when the curation of it gets a bit scary.
So Jeremy Irons was also there, who'd played Jerry, and he was doing a bit from No Man's Land. And Sam West had played Robert at the Donmar Warehouse in London.
No pressure.
Yeah, but it was a very, very collegiate, very joyful evening. And Zawe and I were asked to do this scene from Betrayal, which really is a masterpiece, I think, in its own right, the scene itself. This is an extraordinary piece of writing. And we went through it once.
Had about 15 minutes rehearsal.
Yeah,
and everyone did.
Had you two known each other before?
We did. We'd actually a little sort of bumped into each other in London. We'd never properly worked together. But that was...
So 15 minutes... You do the scene, and then what was it that happened during that scene that you were like, maybe this is something we should examine more permanently, and
what's really interesting is I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but that, Pinter is a great comedic writer, and on that evening there were many very funny pieces, and I remember thinking, this one's going to be a bit of a downer. It's when Robert finds out that Emma has been having an affair. I thought, well, never mind. It's not going to be, there are going to be no laughs here, but let's just play it straight. And there was a really extraordinary silence. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's a kind of a quality of listening that's quite unusual.
It was great to be doing that scene in the setup of the gala, because it was literally actors and microphones. There were no extras. The stage was completely bare. And so it really was, as Tom said, it was the words and the silences and the pauses and the atmosphere, and for whatever reason that scene really lent itself to the sparseness of it. And then, fast forward however long, we're in a production that has remained really true to that initial moment.
I played Jerry, and Jerry is Robert's best friend from university. Jerry is having an affair with Robert's wife, Emma.
I play Emma, and I'm married to Robert, and having an affair with Jerry. It's under so many of the pauses, especially in the play. It's these characters who just, if they made themselves vulnerable for a second, maybe the play would end because everyone would say what they meant. But they kind of, instead, they use words as these daggers.
Is there a villain here? Like, how is that playing out within this dynamic? So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I actually believe what I just said, to be honest. And that's the thing about the play. As soon as you say something definitive about it, you go, actually, the piece just moves. It's a shifting piece, and each night is different, and each night I certainly believe things to be true that on another night maybe aren't. Say something.
Oh, well, I think, well, you save me, is what you mean.
Well, listen, the last time that this show was on Broadway, a real-life married couple, Daniel Craig and Rachel Weisz, did the show together. Of course, it is such an intimate setting, and romance rumors will fly. So, Tom, can you tell me about your bromance with Charlie? We have photo evidence.
Do we have enough time?
You have photo evidence?
We do. We have photos of them, yeah.
Robert and Jerry have a conversation halfway through the play about their children. And one of the conclusions of the conversation is that boy babies cry more than girl babies. And I think in lots of ways Pinter's exploring that. My discovery with Robert is his enormous internal vulnerability. Maybe boy babies do cry more than girl babies. And I hope that that the Broadway audience and the community has been so welcoming. But I hope that they can connect to the profound human aspect that we're trying to present.
You guys also swapped roles for Halloween. You dressed up as Loki, and Tom, you dressed up as Daredevil. So whose idea was this?
No, I don't know. Your idea, you know? Yeah, we sort of, great idea. We thought we'd do something for Halloween, and so many people, we go to the stage door every night and sign playbills, and so many people have played with this idea of, you know, is Daredevil having an affair with Loki's wife? We thought we'd do something fun, and what was so silly was dressing each other, you know, making adjustments. Charlie had a special helmet for me to wear at Daredevil, and I was saying, you know, you can wear the costume, but you must make sure you wear the wig as well.
I'll just adjust it
horns,
just a little bit.
But we had a good time, and then Zawe was Captain Marvel, and
Perfect.
and Eddie Arnold, who plays the waiter, was Captain America. So we were captained on both sides. Yeah.
I mean, how does it feel to have these two superheroes kind of vying for your attention 8 nights a week?
Oh, it's just absolute hell. I mean, we joked actually when we started that it was me that was the only non-superhero in the piece. I mean, that can be changed.
That can be changed.
I'm joking. But it's what it is we've started this play, and from the beginning had the most amount of trust in each other that I think it's possible to have between 3-4 actors. The play that we're doing is called Betrayal, but the play behind the scenes is really called Absolute Trust.
Oh.
So to be coming to the end feels extremely surreal and very, very sad.
Yes, what is crazy is that we started rehearsing at the beginning of February, which is in the winter, and it's almost winter again.
Is that winter, February?
February is winter. And we've done over 200 performances, and we only have 40 left. But they've been special, each and every one of them.
I just personally would like to thank my colleagues. Charlie. That's a pinter pause. Natasha, wasted, with a pale and stern face, not at all shamefaced as Pierre expected her to be, was standing in the middle of the drawing room. When Pierre appeared at the doorway, she became flustered, obviously undecided whether to go to him or wait for him. Pierre hastily went up to her. He thought that she would give him her hand, as always, but coming close to him, she stopped, breathing heavily and lowering her arms lifelessly, in exactly the same pose in which he came out to the middle of the room to sing, but with quite a different expression.
Pyotr Kirillich, Prince Bolkowski was your friend. Is your friend.
She corrected herself. It seemed to her that everything only was, and that now it was all different.
He told me then to turn to you.
Pierre sniffed silently, looking up at her. Up to then, he had reproached her in his soul and had tried to despise her. But now he felt such pity for her that there was no room in his soul for reproach.
He's here now. Tell him to, forgive me.
She stopped and began to breathe still more rapidly, but she did not cry.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I'll tell him, but he did not know what to say. Natasha was evidently afraid of the thought that might have occurred to Pierre.
No, I know it's all over. No, it can never be. I'm only tormented by the wrong I've done him. Tell him only that I beg him to forgive me for everything.
Her whole body shook and she sat down on a chair. A feeling of pity such as he had never experienced before overflowed Pierre's soul. I'll tell him everything once more. But I'd like to know one thing.
What?
I'd like to know whether you loved. Pierre did not know what to call Anatole, and he blushed at the thought of him. Whether you loved that bad man.
Don't call him bad. But I don't know. I don't know anything.
She began to cry again. A still greater feeling of pity, tenderness, and love took hold of Pierre. He felt tears flowing behind his spectacles and hoped they would not be noticed. Let's not talk anymore, my friend. It seemed so strange suddenly for Natasha to hear that meek, tender, heartfelt voice. Let's not talk, my friend. I'll tell him everything. But one thing I ask you. Consider me your friend. And if you need help, advice, or simply to pour out your soul to somebody, not now, but when your soul is clear, remember me. I'll be happy to if I'm able.
Don't talk to me like that. I'm not worthy of it.
She was about to leave the room, but Pierre held her back by the hand. He knew he had something more to tell her, but when he said it, he was surprised at his words himself. Stop it! Stop it! You have your whole life ahead of you.
Ahead of me? No. For me, all is lost.
All is lost. If I were not I, but the handsomest, brightest, and best man in the world, and I was free, I would go on my knees this minute and ask for your hand and your love. Natasha, for the first time in many days, wept tears of gratitude and tenderness, and after glancing at Pierre, left the room.
Coming round one more time. In. And straight ahead. This way. Just one more straight ahead. Let's just straight ahead, please. One more straight ahead, please. Right, please. Just straight ahead, please. And Zoe? This way, this way. Zoe, just one straight ahead, please, Zoe. One more. This way. Zoe, one more. Look down now. Then you just bring it just in front of this line here. That's great. One here, please. Together on your left, please. Guys, to the left, please. Guys, to the left, please. This way. Ahead. Guys, both to the left, please. Can I just have both of them together? Hey. And go. One more.